We're going to talk about my favorite topic, which has always been an issue, which is the responsibility of educators and whether it's our job to force students into network security, because they are the fairly uneducated when it comes to network security, although the kids these days are probably smarter than all of us combined. Just one kid, depending on who that kid is. But even with that, they don't tend to be the profile of kids that are worried about network security or really care or are willing to spend money on it. So is there a role for us as educators to enforce network security, or should we?
Well, yes, I think we have some responsibility there. Like I said earlier, my example, we don't have residence halls, so we're not. You don't have that direct link with students who are on our network all the time doing any number of different things, gaming and all the other things that may encourage them to go to sites that are already infected. I think, as you mentioned, segmentation is really important. At National and our other affiliates, all of our student networks, each location are segmented off from each other, and then segmentation between student and administrative networks. So, hopefully you're containing anything that happens in one particular location, and you can rapidly refresh any managed devices, or through wireless or any other thing, throw off or block a particular offender if necessary. I think the issue of web filtering, content filtering, we have advanced firewalls that allow these locations, and so we can do some of that stuff. You're obviously filtering for known malware, or these days more based on the activity of those devices rather than signature-based. And so, again, I think in our example, it's more about mitigating and containing than it is in blocking. We will be notified or alerted of behavior that looks like a botnet, or some sort of peer-to-peer, other things that we don't want. And instead of blocking it, we will go and, after the fact, turn that off. And then if it's a machine we own, then go back and fix that. But in addition to that, again, I think it's about training. Mm-hmm. I think, like you said, students in terms of their facility with all things computers, I think they're probably better than most of us. But again, I think that there's not either an awareness or a concern from a lot of people, including students, about what the risk is, not only to the information on their machines, but the impact an attack or a compromise of their machine could have on the greater environment. Mm-hmm. So training and making some awareness, so there's some personal responsibility from the student side.
So the other side of this is, so while schools are meant to be exploratory environments, and kids should have the ability to go out and explore and learn things, the other side of it is that it is an educational environment, and there's like a lot of people who are actually trained to teach people how to do things. And so it seems like a natural environment to just instill in kids from a fairly early age how to do things and how to stop and think of the consequences of their actions in terms of, well, any number of things, but specifically in security, and what they can or what they will and won't share. The other side of it is that we deal with kids a lot. We have like local competitions, and they do defense exercises, and the teams that place highest come back and they get more in-depth training. And the thing that kind of surprises us is, while they may be very comfortable with computers, there's a lot of the kind of nuts and bolts that they don't necessarily understand. So while they may outwardly seem to really grasp what's going on, there's a lot of the nitty-gritty that they don't necessarily know unless we're teaching them specifically, like the security aspects of things, or like how does the network work, how does encryption work, that sort of thing. That just kind of, it's magic sauce that happens, and I don't know, like how cars work for most people.
Yeah, they tend to understand the application layer very well, mm-hmm. But the other layers aren't as.
I think there might be an opportunity, and it's not something that we've investigated, but an opportunity for using some of the mobile device management tools that we're using for our own university-provided devices, but for students as well, so that the experience, what they use on their own device that is related to the university is cordoned off from everything else on their device. We would love to do VDI on a grand scale, so that we were controlling their desktop and could refresh it, and all those things. That's a little beyond us at the moment. But I think looking at something like that, where not so much for protection of the university, so you might like wipe out the portion on their laptop or their device that is university related, but simply for making sure that an infection on their device is not passing through to a university resource.
Yeah, one of the, we said training a couple times, and that really is what I see is the essential component of it.
Speaking to kids on their level as well, like there is a lot of kind of very technical stuff about, okay, you should or shouldn't do this, and it's very specific, and they may not necessarily, they may think more of like corner cases of why would I do this in X, Y, or Z situation, whereas if you think of it in terms of hardening your machine positively to protect yourself, as opposed to don't do this, don't do that, because teenagers love to hear don't do this, don't do that.